come to this happy place, welcome.
Please stand clear of the doors. Por
We
favor,
invite you, if
manténganse
you
alejados
dare,
de las
to
This here's
puertas.
a
tonight's
wild
edition of
ride in the
Twist
west.
Out, in this elevated travel doorless chamber.
Hello and welcome to Miles from Main Street, your Far From Disney podcast. My name is Mikhailo,
And I'm Brian,
and we're here to talk about Disney World,
but especially coping away from Disney.
which we know a lot about being from the Midwest. Here at Miles from Main Street, our preferred travel agency is Magical Vacations by Kimberly. Kimberly is a Disney expert and can handle all of your Disney planning needs. She can also plan Universal and all major cruise lines. Contact Kimberly at magicalvacationsbykimberly@yahoo.com.
And find her on Facebook and Instagram under Magical Vacations by Kimberly.
Today on Miles from Main Street, we're talking about Christmas, my favorite time of year.
It's got to be one of my favorite times too, Mikhailo. Hey, Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas, everybody. I know I have been throwing in some Disney magic into my Christmas festivities, and I'm sure, Brian, you're doing the same.
Oh, absolutely. One of the first things we did this year was go out and buy the Christmas mask from Disney. So my wife walks around with Minnie Mouse and the word joy across her face. And I've got that kind of like the ugly sweater pattern with Mickey Mouse going across the middle of it. So that's the first thing we did to get going with Christmas. If we got to wear a mask, why not have a good one?
Definitely, yeah. I'm still rocking my Spirit Jersey mask. I think that's the probably the coolest mask that I own right now, and I love wearing it out to places and just hoping people are like, "Hey, like, cool Spirit Jersey mask," and they know it, but it never happens. One of the things that I like to do is I like to bust out my my popcorn bucket that is a Christmas tree. That's probably one of my favorite things that I've gotten from the parks that's Christmas related. And that's literally my tree right now. I don't have a tree up in my apartment. So
Well, you guys probably saw online on Facebook that I had gotten my package from Magic Kingdom not too long ago. And one of the things in that package was the new Christmas tree popcorn bucket like you've got, but this one's white and it lights up and stuff, and it's got Mickey and Minnie running around on the front of it. And so that we've got that out. We've got I've got the Pluto one. I believe that was from last year, maybe 2 years ago. So we really like the Pluto one as well. Popcorn buckets are great decorations.
yeah, they are not very good popcorn buckets, but they were very good decorations. Some of those designs for putting popcorns in aren't very realistic.
But they're fun. We took the Pluto. I think my wife took it last year and threw some lights inside of it, some Christmas lights, plugged it in. Looked awesome.
That's awesome. Yeah, and that white Christmas tree looks so cool. I like my green one, but that white one looks really sweet.
We really wanted the green one last year, but we couldn't get the hookup figured out last year. So got the new one this year, though. That's awesome. Yeah,
and something else I actually have, and this was gifted to me by my father. They all went out to, I think it was Branson, Missouri, and they had a little bit of vacation out there, and there's a Disney store out there, and he just somehow plucked out probably the coolest thing he could have gotten from the Disney store, which is the Jingle Bell Mickey necklace that lights up. So you usually get those at Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party, and just out of nowhere, just brought it home, and I thought it was the coolest thing. Usually, I like to try and go to those Disney stores and try to find something parks related, because usually they have in the back corner, sometimes they have some park merchandise, but this was just like so cool. And it was just like so random that that he picked that out and then gifted it to me. So that's another thing I have hanging up over here. It's very cool.
That is pretty cool. One of the things I wanted to bring up since we're talking about decorations was my outside. We try to put stuff up outside. I've got a string of lights on the roof, and we put a new thing around the tree. But the one thing that I love is we got one of those projectors a couple of years ago, and it's Mickey heads floating around the house. That's so cool. And then I've got a Darth Vader holding a present, because who wouldn't want a present from Darth Vader? And and a stormtrooper that's got a candy cane. One of those, they're both of those inflatable ones. So we keep looking for more stuff. Lowe's has had these like little posts that you can get that line along your sidewalk that look like Mickey heads with like peppermints or whatever. We keep looking for them. We go to the store and they never have them. So I don't know. One of these days we'll find it, I'm sure. But
Brian is lucky. He's got a house to deck out with Mickey stuff. I'm less lucky. Most of my decorations are Disney themed, but I just don't have as much real estate as Brian does.
well, maybe someday you'll end up with a house. Doesn't mean you need one though.
I mean, I hope so. A house down in Florida. I would love that. Probably like the Orlando area. That I've heard that place is pretty nice. But anyways, some of the things that I love to do is listen to Disney music and watch videos of the parks during Christmas time. And I've been to Disney a couple different times during Christmas. Unfortunately, Brian has not.
No, I haven't had the opportunity yet, but that is pretty high up on the bucket list right now that we're going to get there. So we're talking about when to do it, how to do it, whether we take the kids, all those joyful things you have to figure out. So.
Yeah, Brian, however, has me on Halloween. I've never been down to Disney during Halloween, and I think that would be really cool.
It is very cool. We've actually been twice, and decorations are fun. The party is terrific. So yeah, I think if you can make it down there, definitely make it for Halloween.
And one tip, here's your tip for this episode, is you can actually go down there and experience both holidays because they do the transition pretty quickly there. So if you go right around the end of October into the beginning of November, then you can experience. They usually try to get almost everything up, but they'll do the transition between Halloween and Christmas right around that time. So if you plan your vacation right, you can experience the park set up in both ways.
Yeah, it takes them really about a week to get everything done, and then some of the resorts are kind of working a little bit more after that. But if you've watched the show that they put out last year, Decorating Disney, it's on Disney Plus now if you wanted to go watch it. And Whoopi Goldberg is the host. That's how you'll be able to know that you're watching the right one. But it's a great show. And then they show you that they're working all day on Halloween day to get ready. They're working all year long to get ready, but they're working all day long to get things kind of set and placed so that they can bring all 17 flatbed semi trucks into the Magic Kingdom just to set up the tree. They do that overnight, which is ridiculous when you think about it, because they close at midnight at the end of that party, and then they open again at 9:00, and they set that tree up within that amount of time. And it's flatbed trucks that are wide load, so they pretty much need a police escort to get them into the Magic Kingdom. So it's amazing. I love watching that show and seeing what they do to get set just in one night.
Oh yeah, I've watched it a couple of times as well, and being a lighting designer and being I'm also involved in rigging and stuff like that. I always find the first part of that that show where they're talking about lighting up the castle and rigging everything up. I always thought that was very cool. It'd be very cool to be a part of that.
I think it'd be pretty neat to be in the Magic Kingdom one day and come back the next day and have it completely different.
Exactly. That would be very cool. But having experienced the parks during the Christmas season, it's all very magical. I have plenty of stories, and I think I've told most of them already on this podcast, but I'll tell one more again. And it's actually one of the interesting things that they do is they pump out fake snow. And being a Midwest kid, being a Wisconsin kid, I'm pretty up close and personal with snow currently. And so I love snow. I've always been a snow sports kind of person, and I played hockey and ice skating outside and everything. So snow is pretty near and dear to my heart. And I remember we were running around the parks at one point trying to hit everything we could. And we were in Hollywood Studios and we were running around, and I think the stage show was happening, the Christmas stage show that they have out there, and we were literally trying to run like through the crowd that was watching it because we were trying to get to the rides that we wanted to go on. And as we were running through the crowd, they started to pump that fake snow in, and it was like me, my brother, and my sister, we just lost our minds. It was like it was so cool, and it's that Disney magic that they really bring to the holiday, that they really pull out all the stops, and it's just so cool to be able to experience stuff like that.
That's really cool. That had to have been quite the moment,
Mm.
obviously, since you're still telling the story.
This is probably the third time that I've told this story.
The first time I ever got to go to Disney, my mom took me down, and I hadn't done any of the research. It was the first time. I didn't know anything. She had done a little bit of digging before we had gone, and she said, "Oh, we got to go to Celebration every night. It snows there every night." We're there in like April, so we go to Celebration and we sit down in this diner, and waitress comes over and she's like, "Oh," my mom's going, "Oh, when's it gonna snow? Like, what? We're from Wisconsin. We got to see it snow." And she kind of gives us the waitress gives us this look. She goes, "Oh, I think they do that in December," which makes a lot more sense, right? So, a bunch of idiots from Wisconsin coming in trying to find snow in Florida. So,
Yeah, that's I'd probably be doing the same thing. Looking for the snow in Florida. But yeah, that just being in the parks during that time and kind of being around Orlando during that time is just really cool. They also do up all of the resorts and everything. They all get their own tree. All their trees are all themed differently. It's all very cool. Which gives you, while you're down there, it just gives you another reason to go resort hopping and just kind of see how all these other resorts decorate for Christmas. It's all very cool.
that's something that really interests me about it because they don't do that for Halloween. You might see a little bit here or there, but they don't really do it like they do for Christmas.
Yeah, it's definitely something that I have wanted to do. The last time I was down there, we really didn't have that much time. We were really going from event to event, and we didn't have much time to kind of roam around all the different resorts. So
That's always something that I will make sure I have time for from now on, since I've now done it, just a resort hop.
mhm.
And we've talked about that before on the show, that you should really hop around to different resorts. You can see the different things that they have. So for Christmas, you got to do it too, the way it looks.
And that also goes for make sure you get down to Disney Springs, because Disney Springs also gets a pretty decent Christmas treatment, and they have a bunch of different Christmas activities to be able to do.
The tree trail, or I guess they're calling it a stroll this year, which I've heard is a lot nicer because they've spread it out through all of Disney Springs instead of just having it in one section near World of Disney.
Mhm.
You're able to like kind of travel through Disney Springs and find the trees, and they have a little button they'll give you if you do the checklist and find them all. So that's a fun thing to do down there.
Awesome. Yeah, I just know I remember when I was down there, I was down there for the Thanksgiving time, and so it was actually pretty packed, but it still kind of felt it always kind of feels like a celebration out there. It always feels kind of like a party. When you're down at Disney Springs, just kind of the way they have it all set up. It's all very cool.
Yeah, Disney Springs is great, and the way that they decorate everything up for the different seasons is a lot of fun too.
Mm-hmm. So something that I kind of wanted to talk about, and this kind of goes along the lines of trying to cope with being away from the parks, is looking up walkthroughs and such. It's probably one of my favorite things to do, and it kind of makes me feel like I'm a little bit more connected to the parks when I watch walkthroughs and when I watch even live events, people that are live streaming at the parks. It's all very cool, and especially around this time when the parks are completely different, when they are all decked out in all their Christmas stuff. Um, and another thing that I actually saw recently, and I've actually played it a couple times now, and it's kind of I don't know why, I just have a couple different rides that when I turn them on and I kind of experience them, it's almost like therapeutic, um, where I just like sit and I just relax. And for me, for some reason, Living with the Land is one of those rides. It's just, I don't know why, but when I turn it on, I'll just kind of like sit down and relax and just listening to the person narrating everything, talking about farming and stuff, whatever he talks about. I don't really know. Um, but I don't know why. It's just one of those it's very calming for me. And recently they actually just did a Christmas overlay, which is pretty cool. They put a whole bunch of Christmas lights around, and there's a little bit more of a Christmas theme to that. So I thought that was very cool. So kind of being able to go in and look at these overlays of rides and stuff that are Christmas themed. And one thing we can talk about too is the fact that and I've actually seen both in Disneyland, they switch Haunted Mansion to be Nightmare Before Christmas themed, and they start that obviously in during the Halloween season, because it's kind of like you can have that all through the holiday season because it's got those two themes to it. But I would have to say I enjoy the Haunted Mansion in Disney World a little bit better. And they don't actually do that overlay. It's Haunted Mansion is just Haunted Mansion. They don't have an overlay for it. And it's not because I disliked the overlay. I guess I can't compare apples to apples because I've only ever seen the Disneyland version of Haunted Mansion with the overlay. But I love that movie. I love Nightmare Before Christmas. I just wasn't really digging the overlay. I think I would have liked it more if it was its own ride. With just that was just Nightmare Before Christmas, that wasn't overlaid over Haunted Mansion. Which on paper I should love. Like, I love Haunted Mansion, I love Halloween, I love Christmas. It's like this should check all the boxes for me. But it's just weird because I just didn't dig it. It didn't help that the ride broke down at one point, but that was also cool because I got to take a whole bunch of pictures of the area that I was in. But still, it was just, I don't know, it was just something about it that I just wasn't digging.
Yeah, I think the overlays are pretty cool. Last week we got to watch a D23 special that they had put out. Disney recently released a book about all the different Disney holidays, and they did a part one for Halloween, and they put out part two last week for Christmas, and they were kind of talking about overlays. And one of the things that they mentioned was the Country Bears Christmas, and this is something that was done, I believe, in these. Actually, it might have been done up until early 2000s, and it was something that they did in Disney World as well. And I've never seen it. They showed a few different pictures of it. Um, you know, Big Al with this all these like lights around him and still playing his guitar. So my wife's like, I want to see that. And it's like, yeah, it'd be fun to see that. I think it's too bad they took that one away, but they do a really good job with a lot of these overlays.
Another one I think they took away. I thought I remember hearing that they took it away, or maybe they took it away just for 1 year. But Jingle Cruise, is that still a thing?
Oh yes, that is definitely
Okay.
still a
Okay.
thing.
Maybe it was Disneyland that doesn't do Jingle Cruise anymore. I can't remember. Maybe I'm making this up.
And actually, if you go out to Disney Food Blog, they recently posted a video of the Jingle Cruise. And we're actually talking to the skipper, to get her on the show sometime in the future. So
That would be very cool.
little tease for you guys. If you want to go check out that video, you could be all set for it. So
Yeah, but Jungle Cruise, I've always loved Jungle Cruise too. Just that the theme of Jungle Cruise, and so Jingle Cruise. I think the last time I was there, I went on Jungle Cruise, and that was last year. So it would make sense that it's still around.
yeah, and watching the video, they change up the script a little bit. They put a few decorations out among some of the animatronics, and the hokey jokes are a little more punny, and it's it's a good time. I love the Jungle Cruise. I can't wait for the Rock movie to come out. Hopefully we'll get to see that soon. So
Yeah, that's gonna be very cool.
definitely. What else you cooking over there?
Well, so I mentioned I like to listen to music, and one of the things I do, this is a little nerdy for me, but I listen to those information channels that they have for the resorts. And I actually, if you find the ones that are right around like November, December, they actually switch that music to Christmas themed music. So it's like Disney music and Christmas themed music all put together. Um, and it's like the perfect kind of like just sitting around. Like I'll play it sometimes when I'm working, because it's like perfect background music. It's kind of like some of it's like piano music, some of it is like they've got a little bit of a orchestra playing, but most of it is, it's just like the best background music to be doing stuff to. And so I'll listen to that sometimes. It's just because the music is it's Christmas themed. It kind of puts you into the Christmas mood. But another one that I found is, and it's actually really cool because it's like ambient sounds of Main Street along with the Christmas music that they play on Main Street. And they've actually made a moving background to it. So there's like snow coming down, and you can see the castle and everything. You can see Main Street. And again, it's just like the most perfect Christmas background music. I turned that on today and just kind of like went around and like just did chores around my house with this awesome visual of Main Street and this awesome Christmas. And it was just like putting me in the Christmas spirit, like so perfectly. It was so great.
That one sounds amazing. I have not found something like that. I think we should probably link that one in the show notes. So if you want to send it to me, or we'll get that into the show notes, and so you guys can go out and check that out as well. The one thing, I've always we've talked about Tim Tracker. I just like seeing all the different. Well, this year it's cavalcades going on, and the parades. The toy soldiers walking through that parade. I think that's got to be the big highlight for me. I always think that those are so cool, and the fact that they came straight from the Babes in Toyland movie. Like I don't. They got done with the show, with the movie, and they had all these props. I go, now what? So they sent in Disneyland. Disneyland's like, okay, we'll repurpose these guys in for the parade or for whatever decorations. And so that, just having that little connection to the movies and that synergy going on is just so cool. The one thing that I try to make a point of watching every year now is the candlelight processional.
Mm-hmm.
That was something very near and dear to Walt. And so I try to watch it. They still do it, I believe, once or twice during the year in Disneyland. And then, of course, it's 3 times a night at Epcot for the entire 8-week season that they have. Or rough, I don't know, maybe it's only 6 weeks. But anyway, if you don't know, it's the Christmas story with all the music narrated by a celebrity of some sort. I've seen the one numerous times with Neil Patrick Harris. There are other celebrities that come in, and they all put their own little inflection into the narration as they do it. And it's a huge choir. You got the Voices of Liberty involved, a big orchestra. It's just the beautiful traditional Christmas music that you enjoy with a story. And it's a great production. So I have to watch that every year. I can't wait to see it in person. That's the one thing when we go down, it's going to be, we're going to see the processional.
Yeah. Kind of coming back to the toy soldiers. One of my, I work with marching bands, and I work with high school students in the marching arts, and I've sent students to DCI drum lines. I've sent students to indoor drum lines. I've had students win WGI in their categories and everything. But probably my proudest moment is I had a student march as a snare drummer in the toy soldier parade. So that was very cool.
That's something to hang your hat on, definitely.
Right? Yeah. But I've always heard really good things about the candlelight processional. I've actually never seen it, even like online or anything. So I'll have to look that up. And I love Neil Patrick Harris, and I've heard everybody loves it when Neil Patrick Harris does the candlelight processional. So I'm definitely gonna have to this year check that out.
Yeah, for sure. Thankfully, Disney decided to record it last year and put it on YouTube, and they reproduced it again this year. So I have not sat down to watch it yet, but I will be definitely doing that.
It's not the time yet. You got to do it just as you get close enough to Christmas so that it really means something.
Yes, you're right.
Yeah. That's something that I just kind of like Christmas in general to talk about that. That's something that I have happened sometimes because with Halloween and with Christmas, I really enjoy like really getting into these holidays. And I've had a couple Christmases where I've like burnt myself out on Christmas, where like I'll start like right after Halloween, and like I'll watch The Grinch like right after Halloween, and I'll watch Christmas Vacation right after Halloween, and like I'll burn through all of these things that I usually do like along the time of Christmas. And I've done it before where like by the time Christmas itself rolls around, I'm just kind of like, yeah, Christmas. So I've learned now to kind of pace myself with the Christmas season. and I really get into it. I have my Christmas movie library is extensive, and Disney Plus has really helped with that because a lot of the harder to find movies and things like that, it's just made it a lot easier to just go on Disney Plus and watch all these great Christmas classics.
Well, and maybe we should talk about that. What kinds of things are out there that you're watching?
Oh man. Okay, so uh my one of my favorite trilogies is the Santa Claus trilogies. Um
Yes,
the first
definitely.
one is just such a classic. And they all really, they're just so well done, like in the Christmas spirit. Um it just everything about the movie just like screams Christmas. There's like Christmas in your face. And I think that's why I like them. The second one is a little cheesy. The third one is really cheesy. But I mean, that's kind of, those are the types of things that you got to take with Christmas is the Christmas cheese. Uh, Another thing I really enjoy are, when I was growing up, obviously I was a Disney kid. Obviously, I'm making a Disney podcast about Disney parks, but um, the I would watch the Disney original move. I would watch the Disney original movies, and they only had a couple. They had a lot for Halloween, but they only had a couple for Christmas. And there was uh, the Ultimate Christmas Present, and then there was "Twas the Night." The Ultimate Christmas Present is pretty cool. It's your typical um, Disney craziness. There's snowing in California. But something cool about "Twas the Night" is Bryan Cranston is in it, and he's like the evil brother who wants to steal Christmas and wants to make money off Christmas. So that's, I always thought that was cool, and watching it after things like Breaking Bad, it's kind of cool to see Bryan Cranston in a Disney original movie.
No, that's also on Disney Plus.
Yeah, those two are on Disney Plus.
Oh, awesome! I'll have to go
Um,
look for that.
they have all of the Simpsons Christmas episodes. I can't remember if they I know they call the Halloween ones Treehouse of Horror, but I don't think they actually have a name for the Christmas ones. But just like
But I
episode
believe
after
they have,
episode.
yeah, they have it all in a playlist that you can go and
Yeah,
watch. Yeah,
that's very cool. And there's a lot of them, obviously, because Simpsons.
yeah. Um, we've been watching Pluto's Christmas Tree,
Hmm.
which is, I believe that's the first appearance of Chip and Dale.
Mm.
Um, but that's a great one. The wallpaper I put on my phone for this time around is actually different parts from the cartoon of Pluto's
Mm.
Christmas Tree. My daughter has watched Noel about 1,700 billion times so far, um, and she's just getting started. And also the Santa Claus trilogy. She has
Mhm.
mostly Santa Claus 3. She's been watching that one. She really enjoys it. So, um, for those of you that have kids under the age of 10, probably know that they can rewatch things over and over and over again and never get sick of it. So, um, my son did it to us with Rudolph. She's doing it to us with Santa Claus. So,
Or
um,
those of you who decide to date Kylo can watch things over and over again and they never get old.
I've done that with Star Wars. I still do that with Star Wars. So, Star Wars Rebels, by the way, is excellent.
Yes.
Um, that's my latest thing, other than Mandalorian. But that's a tangent.
Speaking of Star Wars, they actually have the Star Wars Christmas special that they came out. It's the Lego Star Wars Christmas special.
Yes, Lego. Yeah,
And
I've watched part of it, but I have not watched all of it.
mhm. It's funny. I think I did that same thing, but I recently finished it. And something funny that I've noticed is so there was this old YouTube channel, and it was this YouTube special that was called Chad Vader, and it was Darth Vader, who was the night manager of a grocery store. and it was really funny. And I actually found out from a couple people that it was based in Madison and it was recorded in Madison, Wisconsin. And I thought that was really cool. And I actually went into IMDb and looked up because I thought the Darth Vader sounded familiar. And I went into IMDb and I looked up the Christmas special, the Lego Christmas special, and lo and behold, it's the same guy from Chad Vader, and he's from Madison, Wisconsin. And I actually went in, and he's been voicing Darth Vader for pretty much everything. So I
For
thought that was cool.
all the different Lego specials.
Yeah, all the different
That's-
Legos. He's done a whole bunch of different Star Wars video games. I think Battlefront was one of the ones that he did.
Oh wow.
So it's like he's Vader now. There's another guy that also does Vader too, but he since the Lego Star Wars was a little bit more silly, it really came out because Chad Vader was kind of a silly YouTube channel. So
That's awesome. One of the things that I was watching today was Disneyland Around the Seasons. I don't know if you've seen that one yet, but it's basically Walt kind of giving us a tour of all of the new rides. I'm holding my fingers up. But it was aired a couple of days after he had passed away back in 1966. So, but it's cool because he takes you through Small World and he takes you through Pirates, and he takes you through a bunch of different rides that had been opened in the last year. And I guess it wasn't Pirates, but I only got through the Small World part today, so I'm trying to remember the rest of it. But yeah, it's a really good one. It kind of starts with the new year and the fireworks at the beginning of 1965, I believe, is when he was talking, and he kind of goes through the year. So you finish with Christmas at the end of the episode. So that's a fun one to pick up.
Mm-hmm. And you know what's funny? It's just hitting me that I was actually in Disneyland during Christmas time. I'm doing air quotes now, but they keep all of their Christmas decorations up through the new year. And I was there the day before. I think it's 2 days before New Year. Or yeah, it was the day before New Year's Eve. And so I was able to be in Disneyland. I think thinking back to it, it was a little more understated than Disney World, but it's still cool to be out there. I remember taking pictures of their downtown Disney area, and they've got Christmas trees up places, and they actually had a really cool gobo of that said like Disneyland Christmas time, stuff like that. So there's some very cool Christmas touches out there at Disneyland as well.
You've done all the Christmas stuff, and
Yeah,
I need to catch up.
Yeah, I think Disneyland is another thing that I would like to go to again and experience a lot more. And I think kind of around the holidays, it's always very fun to be at Disney. Just to kind of be at Disney during a special time in general is very fun.
Yeah, anytime you can catch something a little different, you can really see how Disney's going to plus it up.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's all we got for you guys today. It was pretty fun to be able to sit down and just talk about Christmas and Disney and all the things that we love about it.
Yeah. Oh man, I've got so many more things I could talk about, but it'd be just rambling. Nobody wants to hear me ramble, do they?
I mean, we ramble through these podcasts anyways, so.
Well, I think it's been a good episode, Mikhailo. I guess there's only really one thing left to say, and it's Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas, listeners.
Or anything else you guys celebrate.
Absolutely. Happy holidays.
From us at Miles from Main Street to yours, happy holidays. Thanks for tuning in. If you enjoyed the show, please rate us on iTunes and subscribe. Email us at milesfrommainstreetpodcast@gmail.com with any thoughts, and visit us on Facebook under Miles from Main Street. We'll be bringing more to you weekly and look forward to talking to you then.
Until next week, remember,
some live close,
but most of us don't.
So let's talk about it.